Hi, welcome to another episode of Design Journeys. And out of all the videos that you could have clicked on, I am glad you found this one. This is the podcast where we talk to some designers in our community and we ask them how do they make that transition into an established design career. If that's the kind of stuff that you're interested in and want to learn more about the design industry and what it means to be a designer today, I would highly recommend hitting that subscribe button because every single week we're going to be putting out a lot more stuff around that, and I think you're going to find that super interesting. In this episode, we spoke to Rishika. She is a UX designer at Zeta. She was a cohort 3 alumni, and ever since then has also been a returning mentor. She has a super interesting story of how she was actually preparing for civil services exam for the IAS and eventually decided to make a career into product design. How did she do that? Let's jump into it, and I think you're going to enjoy this one.
Hello.
Hello, how are you guys?
What's up?
What's up, Abhinav?
Very excited for this episode.
Same.
Why are you excited?
I'm super excited because Rishika has kind of been one of our OG mentors in the sense that I think from the time when she was just a member as one of the cohorts to today where she has helped so many people, helped organize so many meetups in Bangalore, Delhi, and in general, I think people kind of know her work from Twitter because she's just so active. What I'm excited about most about today's session is getting deep into some of those transition areas, how Rishika made that transition and going deeper into that.
So let's start with that. Let's go beginning of Rishika's journey. So Rishika, you were preparing for UPSC, which is pretty intense. Talk to us about that. What was that like, that phase?
So basically, I did my graduation from Bangalore, MS Ramya, and I got really good grades in my final year. What no one tells you is that it's very easy, the final semester. But I generally got very good grades, and I've always wanted to study history. But family was like engineering karo, like do the rat race and everything. And I was like, and then I just came across UPSC Civil Services. I don't know how I just came across. And I was like, I'll get to study history. Why not? Like at 21, what do you have to lose? Like I was like, let's do it. And then I enrolled for it. First month I was a little hesitant because I don't come from that background. None of my friends are from bureaucracy or anything like that. But I think within 1 month my entire mentality around it changed. I think it's the classes, the way they conduct it, the way teachers talk to you. They don't teach you, they teach you the mindset you need to have for the next 4 5 years of your life, basically. Like you're going to eventually lose the entire life you know as it is, right? So I think that really did the trick for me. And anyway, it just, and the history teachers were amazing. So I was like, we got to do this. And I started preparing for it. First year is always like, and especially when I don't have any background context, first year was just random. Fast forward, I gave 4 attempts, and the fourth result came during COVID, like the first lockdown. I was home, and I didn't make it, and I was just like I was so miserable, and my family was like, "Why are you putting yourself through that? Like, why are you trying to? Like, why do you want to do UPSC CSE?" And because at that point I had studied so much about India and the grassroots problems that people have, I felt as if I could help, I should. If I don't, then it's not good. It's like Spider-Man. Like if you can, you should. And then my cousins were there. A couple of them are into startup and marketing, and they were like, there are other ways to help, and you can use your skill set and better enhancement. And I think when I was giving my third and fourth, I gave in everything. Like I did everything I could as an aspirant from my end. So I didn't feel that regret ki, I'm leaving it. I could have tried more. I was happy. Like I was content. Like I did my best shot. And moving forward, I was like, and I had changed 2 careers within a decade. I done engineering, I did UPSC, CSC, and I was like, I cannot give any more competition. That's for sure. And uske baad, I wanted to do something which comes naturally to me because I also had to upskill quickly. I also had to, like pick myself up quickly. And I've always been doing Photoshop since I was a kid. I've been going to inter-public school conferences and all these competitions in 11th and 12th. And I was like, why not do this? And then Photoshop just didn't make a lot of sense. It wasn't helping me solve anything. And that's when I beautifully stumbled upon cohort based courses and UI UX. And I know Abhinav through a friend, and I was like, I reached out to him. I was like, "What's happening?" He's like, "It's a great course. Try reaching out and all." And we filled form. And fast forward Feb 2021, we started with the cohort. And yeah, and since then it's just been amazing. Like it's just been designed.
That is insane. And then, so one thing I want to like kind of get your perspective on. So you joined the 10K designers cohort, and there, what was something that really stood out to you in terms of like just the community aspect, or maybe the lounge sessions? Maybe you could talk something about that.
I think I'll be very honest. I didn't finish all the assignments. I mean, everyone watching, do your assignments. I just because there were so many talented folks, I just wanted to like talk. It was just like sitting at the, it was such an easy way to upskill and just talk to people. I really believe you can learn a lot from someone's experiences, that you learn faster like that, and then you navigate yourself. And I was like, if I've come here for this, why not utilize this? And luckily for me, the like people in my cohort, we all became very good friends. We would end up being on lounge for like six hours, play scribble, play code names and all these Among Us and all these games. And we started spending a lot of time on lounge, and the mentors would hop in, they would come and chill with us and go. And eventually, like from not knowing what to talk to them, I started understanding what is the correct questions to ask them. Like, to like, how can they help me? Basically, I was helping them help me. Like, how can they help me? Like, what's the approach? There are some people who specialize in UI, some in UX. And and it's okay. Like, everyone has their niche, and it helped me navigate. Also, I was coming from like a very public sector domain to a very new industry startup. I remember telling Abhinav ki what is WAGMI. Like from there, I started my journey. But no, lounge really helped me in the sense that it also made me very comfortable in my skin. Ki it's okay to not know. It's okay to not have all the answers. No question is stupid. Like it gave me that courage, that nudge. Ki let's try, and we'll see where it takes. And I think to have friends in a industry, like in a like in a work industry, it's a blessing. Like I can go to my normal friends and rant about ki this went wrong, that went wrong, but if you share this with the friends who are in the same industry, they'll always give you better solutions. And there are more chances of them, at least mentors who have gone through this journey. And that, at least that similar journey happened to me in 10K. Like there's something that happened and I just didn't know how to navigate, or if I can talk about it. And but there are people who went through it and they were like, it's very normal, this is how we navigate. So I think in that sense I made very good relations in lounge. So and I always recommend, just talk to people. That's the best thing.
Abhinav. So
Yeah.
Rishika has built so much hype around lounge sessions. So what are lounge sessions at 10K designers? For people who are wondering now, what on earth is
They're
lounge
like, which
session?
lounge? Which lounge do they have?
Yeah.
So I would say, in fact, the next thing I was just going to ask Rishika is, and I'll get back to the lounge thing. Rishika, when you were preparing for UPSC, I'm assuming a lot of that was offline, or was that
Yeah,
also like
offline.
online learning
Offline.
kind of scenario? So I want to know some of those differences, right? Of course, you were prepping for UPSC, and you had multiple attempts. Here, you were kind of making a similar transition, let's just say, not exactly the same, but making an entry into a new field. What were some of those offline versus online type differences?
That's a very good and deep question. Like it's a very retrospective question. I think when I was preparing for UPSC, no matter what, like in the end, it comes down to you preparing alone. Like you are in the battlefield alone. No matter what the opponent is, you have to face it alone. And so most of my studying was in a closed room. Like I didn't know what's happening in the world except that was there in like Indian Express or Hindu. Like I didn't know what was happening like socially, or in Bollywood, anything that was not in my newspapers, I was not aware of. And immediately when you come to a world as big as design, which is just evolving, and this is the phase when DAO was a very new term. Dogecoin had just launched, like and I just stepped into design, and every day I would learn about something very new, or a new software, or a new technology that's been launched, like blockchain, AI, everything. And so it gets difficult if you are trying to understand these things alone. Like so for UPSC, the purpose was to just understand, mug up, or whatever your level of understanding is, and reproduce that in the question paper. But right now I would be designing for these people, so I think that the understandability factor changes by 100x. Like right now you need to understand it well enough to be make it easier for someone else. You just don't have to go and tell them ki, oh, mujhe ye aata hai. You just have to be like ki, this is how we can make your life easier. So I think that only comes by talking to more people, understanding their journey, their user experiences. So in that terms, doing this course online really helped me. Like it helped me go there faster, go there easier. And I think more often than not, you realize a lot of people are sailing on the same boat with you. So if someone finds the paddle, it's very like, if you find those community who's willing to share that paddle with you, I'll row from left, you row from right, and we just reach faster. It's like that. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so for folks who are wondering what lounge sessions are, basically what we've tried to do with the experience is create some kind of classroom environment. And the way we've been able to do that is we, of course, have our live sessions, which kind of feel like an actual session. But we also have a lot of like informal discussions that happen, right? Which can be like anytime during the day. And these kind of resemble more like let's just say chai breaks and just random impromptu conversations or late night conversations. And what we do is we use voice rooms for this. So we use Discord voice rooms to just kind of set this up and make that happen. And so that's what lounge really means here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. So, Rishika, how did you get the job at Zeta as a designer?
So basically, yeah, again, this wouldn't have happened if I wasn't on lounge that day. So the head of design at Zeta, Ramakrishna, he tweeted that they were looking for UX designers. And I like the first time I heard Zeta's name is when Zeta published their salary report in 2021. And we were we were in the cohort, someone shared, and I was like, wow, that's a company I will not immediately apply. Like I was like, we have to build towards it. And that's when I just joined the cohort. But fast forward, Rama put a tweet out that they're looking for UX designers, and at least 5 people from the cohort DM'd me that tweet. So when the first person DM'd me, I was like, "ठीक है." When the second person DM'd me, I was like, "It's okay. You think I'm there, but thank you for the encouragement." When there like so many people DM'd me, I was like, I owe it to them. Like they must understand, where they're coming from and all that. And I did apply, but I never thought it would convert, and I never imagined. So I went on their online portal and I applied through all the official portals they had. But what I also did is I went on Twitter. I stalked a couple of designers and I realized who all are active, right? It doesn't make sense to just DM people who are not active. So I found folks who are active and I DM'd 2 of them, and one of them responded to me, and I wrote a very nice cold DM, a long message. I also like so I think why it worked for me is because I explained my entire journey, where I'm coming from, what I did, and what I'm capable of doing. This is my UX portfolio. Apart from design, I also do Photoshop, video making, illustration. I put all my links in one place and I shared that with them. Like entire work, this is there, and I put my entire like I basically gave them an introduction to what is happening in my life and where I'm coming from. So I think that helped a lot. I reached out to Anurag. He referred to me through his portal, and 2 days later I got a call from HR, and that's where the assignment process started.
And a quick question right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have multiple UI case studies before you applied? And the reason I'm asking is a lot of folks are looking to like apply at companies like Zeta. They're afraid that, hey, I don't have, like 3-4 different UI case studies, so maybe I shouldn't apply. So did you have UI case studies?
I think like I'll get back to that, but I don't think a portfolio will ever be as ready as we want it to be. Like there'll always be some room for improvement, right? So in my case, I just had 2 UX case studies. They were good good UX case studies. They were thorough, but I didn't have any UI case studies. That was the entire reason why I was so hesitant about applying to Zeta. I was like, I don't have any UI work and it doesn't make sense, and what will they? But apparently they liked my work, and so yeah, anybody out there listening to this, just apply. Like don't self reject, just apply, shoot your shot. So yeah, I applied, and they gave me a UI case study, and that was the first and the only UI case study I've done. I mean, I've done UI work, I did assignments, but I never like made a case study out of it. But Zeta's assignment is the only UI case study I've done. So yeah, that worked like a charm for me. But my UX case studies were through, like they were like I reached out to 2 mentors in 10K, and it was not that they gave me feedback and I implemented and I left it there. I went back again, they again gave feedback. This went on for a month. That's how my UX case studies came out. So I think I built my foundation strong. So I think that definitely helped there.
So, Rishika, one of the very common things that I hear from people who are making that transition is, firstly, there's of course a lack of confidence, like a general lack of confidence, because you feel new to this field. So you're kind of scared of what do I not know? And that kind of stays on your mind. And what I love about your story is throughout the thing, you had that confidence, right? Even if you were missing it at points, you were able to push through. So can you speak a little bit on that? Like, what's this confidence gap that designers kind of face?
I think, like you said, it's the fear of not knowing, right? It's the fear of being new, and it's also a little intimidating because people are now putting their work out there. We are more connected than ever. We have so many platforms to look for work. If you just simply Google UI templates, or UI screens, and they're just like crazy screens out there. So I think it becomes very difficult if you make that your end goal, right? I mean, it's a good thing to vision to go there,
Hmm.
but what we lack is, it's just scary. You don't take the first step because you think the last step is so scary. The way I see things in life is that the only way is forward, so let's do it joyfully, you know but also,
Hmm.
I think in terms of confident, a lot came from my friends. I'm not gonna lie, a lot came from my friends. There were days when I was very hesitant, there were days when I didn't get callbacks, and you're just so, but I think the one good thing is, you can always ask them if something goes wrong. You can always ask them ki what went wrong, so you can incorporate that and make sure that this doesn't happen again. So I think in that terms, I was like, this worked out for
Hmm.
me. uh, Apart from them, I've just like,
You want to give
I
a shout out to any of them?
yeah, I think
Like
Yug,
your friends, if they're watching this, you want to give a shout out to them right now?
I think all of you in C3, thank you so much. I mean, it's been insane. Everyone, like, I just like, there's so many to name, but yeah, guys, thank you so much for being there. And I love it that they don't treat me differently now. They'll still say, "Ki, oh, this doesn't look nice, Rishika. What is this doodle deleted?" Like, there are days when I don't want to do things, but they're like, "No, we aim for quality, so you have to push through." So I think in that
Hmm.
aspect, a lot of them, like, I'm just very fortunate. I end up making friends here, and I that's why I keep emphasizing the importance of talking,
Hmm.
and that's what happens in lounge. I mean, it just connects the dots.
I want to get into a related thing, right?
Hmm.
I think one, this is just something I've observed. I want to just ask you from your perspective, like, what was your kind of reasoning for the cold email approach, as opposed to, let's just say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to apply and do this, or hey, I hope a recruiter reaches out to me and do it.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people, they kind of take the passive approach. You've taken the very active approach of
Hmm.
actually
Hmm.
going, doing your research and DMing, versus what people expect is, maybe if I'm good, maybe people should reach out to me. So what's that mindset difference?
I think basically when I had to start applying, right? Once I was confident enough to let's start applying, I firstly made a list, like, I did my pros and cons of what is suitable for me in that stage in my life. Where do I want to go for? And that depends a lot. It's a very personal decision. It can differ for everyone differently, right? What are your priorities basically? It can be money, it can be good team, it can be remote, it can be specifically in Bangalore or Gurgaon. Like, it's just preferences. So I think for me, a good team was a preference. How again I was able to come to this decision is because I spoke to so many people who are right now, like, who were at that point working, right? So it also helps you put a lot of things in context, what worked for them, what didn't work for them. And obviously people who are in the industry for certain point of view are able to guide you better, and and that's obviously a cheat code which just works, like, if that's what community does to you. So I think for me, I made a list of good teams and everything, and Zeta was in one of them, and Zeta was hiring. And I wanted to work in fintech. I mean, I come from a business family. Gupta is my surname. So it was just fitting in the order, and I wanted to be a part of the fintech, and it just showed. So, so I think in that sense, and when you really want something, अगर आप किसी चीज को पूरी मेहनत से चाहते हो, yeah, I mean, I didn't wait for it, like you said. I was like, कि, why not we shoot our shot? Why not we take things in our hands? And if nothing comes from cold DM, I would at least ask him if my work is good enough to be there at this moment, or what all would I need to
Hmm.
improve to be there. So I would also get that feedback if nothing works. So I was not losing at any point. I was gaining something either way I was gaining something. So that was my thought process.
Awesome. Awesome.
So Rishika, any final words of wisdom? जो भी लोग ये वीडियो देख रहे हैं, क्या आप बोलोगे उनको एडवाइस के लिए? Those who want to break in the
I
design
think
field.
that my favorite wisdom is, don't go to 10 mentors for feedback, go to 2 mentors, but implement those feedbacks. Like, when you open so many feedbacks, and that's a good thing, but the thing is, you will only end up taking 10 days for continuous feedback. When will you have time to implement them and then publish it? Publish 5 different case studies with 5 different mentors, but start it, like, incorporate those feedbacks. What I've seen is people take feedbacks and then they get so overwhelmed. And obviously, what Abhinav will have to say will not be similar as what Jayneil or me have to say. We are different individuals. We'll all have different approaches. So, even the mentors will give you different feedbacks. What matters is how much work you push out. How much not you just take feedback. Like, you have to implement those feedbacks. I hope that makes sense. This is personally something I've been seeing a lot. So I was like, I hope that helps.
That's a very unique piece of feedback.
Mm. Because then people get so
Definitely.
overwhelmed ki, I did this, they didn't like it, I did that, they didn't like it. And so in that process, I think the person loses their originality. Like, I mean, you take feedbacks, but you also have to start defining what kind of designer you are, or what is your design process, and what is your design signatures. Like, in that get lost, I feel, when you like, it's just like too many cooks spoil the food.
Thanks, Rishika. This was an amazing conversation. I hope
Thank
people
you.
found something super interesting from it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This
Thank
was
you so
fun.
much, Rishika.